can't talk. If you're gonna be out here, you can't talk. Show you can show me.
All right, all right. Peace to the family. This is Brandon B. Dixon. All right, so we on another episode and we're talking real estate. So I'm waiting on the notifications to come through. I know we live on YouTube. I just got the notification. I'm live on LinkedIn. We should be live on the gram as well. Cool. I just got the gram. All right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and get it started with the introductions. We got a special guest today. I'm excited about. Let's go ahead and start off with CJ. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll get the party started here.
Cool. What's up, everybody? I'm back. I got power this week. Last week was crazy, man. I didn't have power for like 5 days. But yeah, we back on. I was nervous today with that new storm, but we still here.
Gotcha.
Well, what's up, everybody? Follow me on social media, CJ Sales Texas, CJSELLSTX. Give me a subscribe, like all that stuff on there. Also, the website Greenwood Realty TX. If you're a seller, a buyer, or if you're an agent interested in more information about who we are, what we do, what we offer, go to the website. We got all the information on there. And then, of course, we got the YouTube channel, CJ the Realtor, where we're doing not just our home tours Lux edition, but we've got a lot of good information on there. We're doing our local business owner highlights, among other things. So go on there, check it out. Give me some comments, give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. And then lastly, of course, give back our mentorship program, the Mansa Academy. If you want more information, go to themansaacademy.org.
Gotcha. Barry B, I got you queued up.
All right. This is Barry B. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the Houston and surrounding areas, just look me up, homesbybarryb.com. I'm on all social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. You can just go to Google and put my pound Homes by Barry B, or you can give me a call 832-786-1270, or you can give me a text.
Gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself, and then we're gonna get our special guest going here. Again, Brandon B. Dixon, in MLS is 1541210 at Big and All Loan Officer on all social media, especially the YouTube. Like CJ said, we got the Homes Tour Lux show, and I got the Behind the Sauce. That's my show as well, where I show you the secrets to brand making and real estate investment, the whole nine. If you're ready to get a mortgage, go to my website, www.applywithb.com. You want to book me for a consultation and you want to get a mortgage started, that's the way to go right there. Also, you can call me 24/7, 832-775-8357. You can call me 24/7 as long as it's about business. Also, I'm a luxury agent as well, so I'm a dual threat, mortgage broker and a agent. So if you want to buy, sell, finance, invest, www.brandonbdixon.com. Last but not least, we have an investment club as well. If you want to get into real estate investment and you want to mitigate that risk, go to clcinvestmentclub.com, where we pool our money together and get into some of these fix and flips, buy and hold, and so on and so forth. So last but not least, I got my man Onaje Barnes. I seen him on the gram, and I kind of like what he was doing. And we was behind the scene messaging each other. I'm like, man, I got to get you on the podcast, man.
I'm here, bro. I'm here.
So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them where they can find you, so on and so forth.
Well, man, hey, first of all, appreciate you. Appreciate the invite for sure. So I love talking real estate. My name's Onaje Barnes. I'm a long-term buy and hold real estate investor. What that means is I'm a landlord. I buy property to keep long-term for generational wealth. You can find me pretty much on all social media channels of Najee Barnes, or at najee10k.com, where we kind of teach master classes. We've got a community called the Wealth Masterminds Academy, where our goal is to build wealth through the power of real estate, one door at a time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've been following you for a minute, bro. I love the info and the game that you're putting out there, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I'm just out here trying to help educate the people, bro. Real talk.
Gotcha. Before we get started, I want you to tell them about game day. I missed the game day because we had the tornadoes and stuff, but I got the 2 tickets. But wasn't able to make it because of the power was off and everything like that. But tell them what you got as far as what game day is, how was the event, what you got going on, and to give them the whole spiel.
And so game day came up. I'm a big sports guy, so I was like, look, just the whole play on words, giving out game. So the whole idea of game day is one day where, regardless of where you at in your journey of real estate, whether you got a bunch of doors or no doors or whatever, we want to make the knowledge of real estate accessible to people that look like us. So you can go out here. There's a bunch of classes you can go to. There's a bunch of seminars, spend thousands of dollars. What I'm trying to do is use my network to bring the best people in the industry that I see at the time, or whoever it is, all my friends, the people that do it for real. Now, I don't care necessarily about everybody who got the biggest followers or the lowest followers. I don't really care about that. Do I know you doing this game for real? Do you have value to the people? And what we're trying to do is get that game out for complimentary, free, because you cost your time, right? You got to show up or whatever. You got to show up and be in person. And this is our 4th year doing game day. It's getting bigger and bigger every time. We do it in conjunction with the Texas Black Expo, who they actually brought in Shannon Sharp this year, which was amazing. He came down to speak about podcasting, this, that, and the other. So this year we kind of focus on a couple things. One, how to get into properties with little to no money down. Also, we created financing. So we had a wholesale panel. We had guys from all over the country, New York, Philly, Chicago coming in to teach that. Then we went local and brought in some of the best developers around town: Kevin Shelton, Chris Okoronkwo, Chris Senegal, Byron Holman, and just talked about development. How can brothers like us, or black, brown people, whoever, how do they get started in the development game? That can kind of get complicated. It's still complicated for me. I've never developed anything. I'm a rehabber, right? So brought that in. And then we talked about the business of real estate. I had my good friend Broker Bowles in here. He's one of the larger brokerages in the state as a black man. And then for me, I do property management. That's our real strength. I mean, I can tell you a lot about real estate, but I know a lot about property management. And then a real treat, special guest, we had Courtney Johnson Rose. She is the current president of NAREB nationwide. I believe she's probably one of the most powerful people in the state in real estate, not just as a person, but as a black woman. So that was just important to bring her in. She's a wealth of knowledge. And then we switched it up a little bit with game day. We ended game day off with Marcus Bowers helping us, teaching us RM building, how to get leads, right? It's tough out here in this market this time, right? For loan officers and realtors, for anybody in the game, right? And so we wanted to actually give some practical application, because we get a lot of realtors and loan officers and just people that's trying to get their leads up, right? Especially in this high interest rate environment. So he kind of helped us out with a lot of social media, just some real new age stuff there. And if anybody don't know Marcus Bowers, he's the owner of or the founder of She's Happy Hair, hair extensions and all that, as a male, not as a female. So really smart dude, man. Game day was phenomenal, man. Appreciate you asking, and I hope to see everybody out next year. Hopefully we don't have a tornado hit us.
Yeah, definitely. I think we had a lot better turnout if it wasn't for the tornado. So let's I don't want to take you too far back, but let's start off with this, because we like to get to know everybody that comes on the panel. Why real estate? And then watch us from like the beginning, like what's your why for this?
Yeah, my why is very strong, and as you lead to it, we all got to have a why in real estate. If you ain't got a why, you ain't really gonna make it too long. So for me, I'm from Houston. I'm a child of Third Ward, Texas. I went to Yates. I grew up in the CUNY homes. Not grew up, but I spent some years there. Right? Anybody that understand what the CUNY homes is, then you understand what I'm talking about. So for me, my mom, I graduated Jack Yates High School salutatorian. Had to fill out my own FAFSA form. And I remember to this day that, when I filled out my own FAFSA form, that means you got to know what your parents make, right? So my mom made $12,000 that year total. Okay. And, that ain't, I mean, and truth be told, I ain't trying to brag, but we make that in a week now. So, for me, I was just trying to get out. I was just, and not just get out, but just make it, right? Like I was just trying to make it in life. And so I went on to UT, majored in economics, got a job right out of high school at Foley's Department Stores. If y'all remember Foley's Department Stores, they're owned by Macy's now, as a buyer. And I thought I made it, bro. Like I straight up thought I made it. I was like, okay, I got this cool job as a buyer. These fools actually let me be the buyer of lingerie. Like I was chilling, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a cold job. And you had people that had been there for 30, 40 years. So there was no reason for me to believe that I would not have this job for 20 years, right? It was downtown Houston. I was living in that neighborhood. I was making a couple dollars. Wasn't a ton of money, but I thought I was balling, right? At 22, you know. But 3 years later, I got the VPs knocking on my door. Hey, young son, you're going to be somebody at this company. I'm like, yeah, appreciate that, right? And 3 months after that, they come knocking on all of our doors and say we were getting bought out by Macy's and all of our jobs were getting let go. And that happened more or less at 25. And I'm appreciative of that because what I realized, they actually offered me jobs in Atlanta, New York, and Dallas or whatever. But what was appreciative is I looked up and saw who was getting laid off. It was a bunch of older people, a bunch of people that kids was getting ready to graduate, kids is in college, all this kind of stuff, white, black, whatever. They didn't care. If you was older, you wasn't on the list. They say discriminating, but that's how it was going down. And I said to myself, okay, this ain't right. Or I as a frankly, just not putting race in it, but look, I'm a 6'3" black man in corporate America. When I get to be 50-ish, they're gonna be knocking on my door. I could realize that then. And so I said to myself, what could I do to get some at least a side hustle? This is before side hustles was kind of popular, right? Like, you know, 20 years ago, I won't say 20, about 18 years ago, I was like, let me get a side hustle. And my good friend, Jerome Love, that's the owner and founder of the Texas Black Expo, he actually put a book that we all probably read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He put that in my hands. And I read that book and I was like, okay, this makes sense, right? Just that whole idea of real estate. I took a job at JCPenney as a planner there, took my wife up, my fiance at the time up there. And I'm okay with saying this, you know, I was making money. She was moving for me to JCPenney, uplifting her life. And my credit was so bad, I couldn't even get approved for an apartment. And as a guy, I just gave this woman a ring and I'm asking her to come move to another city. And I can't even, she has to co-sign for me on this apartment. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I got to get my life right. I thought I had some things right, but I had to get some things right. So, you know, throughout that year, got my credit right, started researching real estate. And we had made the decision that I'm like, hey, you know, real estate ain't, JCPenney wasn't it. I got on, applied for, to get on with Nike. Got on with Nike as a sales rep and a planner and a financial planner with them. And we were moving back to Houston. And I was like, look, I'm moving on a mission. I got me a new job and we're going to buy some real estate. And ironically enough, the date was 2008. The date was 2008. And I went through the NACA program. Some of y'all probably know NACA program. Great program. It's long, pain in the butt, but went through NACA program. And I was like, hey, we're gonna buy us a ugly house. Ugly house turned into a distressed foreclosure. And I actually closed on my first property 1 month after Lehman Brothers crashed.
Dang.
So this was not the time to invest in real estate, right? Like, this is not whatever, but you know, the house was like, and you always remember your first deal, right? The house was listed for like 160. It was like 180. They had dropped to 165. I offered 135. They took it. NACA gives me 30 grand because it's in Meyerland. It's old as dirt. It's 1960. Green shag carpet, just whatever. All my friends is like, they all going to Pearland and, you know, all this other Fresno was hot back then and all that kind of stuff. And I'm buying this tore up property in Meyerland that's old as dirt that hadn't been touched since 1960. But fast forward, we took the 30 grand, rehabbed it. I didn't know what I was doing. Contractor stealing money from me. All the bad stuff that happened on your first rehab happened to me, but we got it done. 6 months after that, I do my first cash out refi. Get out the NACA loan. These boys dropped 45 grand in my pocket because the new valuation was worth 240.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was kind of like the right time because
it was
houses, so they gotta.
It was. So, I bought it for 135, in for 165, new valuations worth 240, new loan around 200. I get 40 something grand in my pocket. I just told you my background. I ain't never seen that kind of money before in my life. Not one blow. I just had a regular corporate job paying 45, 60 grand a year. So I ain't never seen no 40 grand. I've never seen 10 grand drop in no account at one time, right? So now at this point, we kind of knee deep into the the recession, the crash, and all that kind of stuff. And I had 40 grand in my pocket, and I said, well, this real estate thing kind of doing something a little bit.
Right.
I had read enough books about collecting rent as a landlord, and I saw a house in Hearn Clark listed for about 60 grand. I only had 44 in my pocket. I offered 40 cash because I'm showing cash at this point, right? The bank take it. They took it. I only had 4 grand left. I go to Home Depot, 2 weeks of sweat equity. I got the house on the market for $950, and I rented in 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm off to the races. Like literally, like my loan, like I'm off to the races. I'm making $450 a month at a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, something like that. And I'm making $400 a month, and all my boys, they buying their cars, and I'm like, look, I got me a car note right now. Like my note was a car note essentially. It was like $290 or something crazy. And then I was making about $450 a month on that. So that's a long story of it. Fast forward now, we've got 50 doors. We got 3 apartment complexes, including a short-term rental boutique hotel called The Escape. So
you got that game from Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I mean, essentially, that really was the book that sold me. And I've read some other books along the way, did the whole Bigger Pockets, listened to all that kind of stuff. Deep dive, listen to all different type of people. But at the end of the day, I'm sold on buy and hold. Now I will do flips or whatever, but I'm a very specific buy and hold investor. I like rent. I love rent. And I'm a Burr strategy guy, even though people say Burr don't work right now. Burr has served me very, very well, over time, right? Like that's part of real estate. So they don't know that's, buy it ugly, renovate it, rent it, rehab it, talk to my Brandon up here, refinance it, and then just repeat the process. So that's my story in a nutshell, man.
That's dope.
Gotcha. Well, I want to kind of navigate it, and I made a lot of interesting points. I want to get into our subject, and that's a great foundation because you sound like you actually took what you learned and put it into action. And like really, when you got that first taste, you was hooked, and like so that's right. And so a lot of people don't get to that first taste. A lot of people seeing these people on Instagram, they seeing the influencers, and they seeing some of the schemers though too, pitching this lifestyle, and they want it, but the actions show otherwise. And we get that a lot on our end, like and that's kind of what I want to get into this week, and I want to get everybody involved, the whole panel involved. Is like, especially in our community, we want all these things. The information's out there. Like you said, the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I gave that book to my daughter at 16 years old. That's one of my favorite books, along with Be Obsessive, Be Average, Grant Cardone, 48 Laws of Power, How to Win Friends and Influence
People. Power up here somewhere.
Right. So, the Dale Carnegie thing. Corey, welcome to welcome aboard. You right?
Hey, real quick, B. We got a question off my Facebook. Brandon said, I think this is Anna J. Are you heavily leveraged like Rich Dad Poor Dad? Yeah. Are you heavily leveraged like the Rich Dad Poor Dad author?
That's a fantastic question. I think when you talk about leverage, I can talk about leverage for a long time. That's one of my favorite words of real estate. But when you talk about leverage, I think that's a personal thing, to be honest with you. It's about temperament. I have properties that are paid off, and I've got properties that are leveraged at 80%. For me, I don't really feel comfortable with my total portfolio being above 60%, loan to value. For me, just from perspective, because I am a cash flow investor. But again, I also have a really good friend of mine. He leverages to the max. but he also is an accountant. You see what I'm saying? So you know, so he's very good with his numbers. I'm an economics guy and I'm good with numbers, but he's better than me, and so his leverage tolerance is higher than mine. So for me, I always recommend people, you know, leverage based on comfortability. If you're new to real estate, part of being successful in real estate is actually paying your bills on time, and that takes time to juggle, right? Because for me, it's not just loans. I got water bills, I got electric bills, I got bills on bills on bills. So you know, for me, the leverage game is I don't really recommend what people should do. I do say people should get comfortable, but over time, you do need to get comfortable with debt because debt is part of this conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Corey, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we're gonna hop into the. You're right. You came in right as I'm about to drop the topic, and we're gonna hit this topic from a few different angles before we all said and done. But go ahead and introduce yourself, Corey.
Okay. Corey Smith, broker owner of Commodore Mortgage. Here for your mortgage needs.
Gotcha.
Short
Keep it simple. And I think I got you. The website is CommodoreMortgage.com.
There we go.
I
Yes,
got the
sir.
setup. So the topic, I don't have any clips. I got OJ Anaje Barnes. He's actually we were supposed to go out there before the tornado. We were supposed to go out there. I think what happened is that everything got all the power here, but this is his event that we were supposed to go to that Saturday with game day. So he's a real estate investor, landlord. He got over 50 doors. A lot of people are pitching his lifestyle right now, and what I'm seeing, especially in my community now, people is like a lot of people talk it. Everybody want it, but how do I get? Let's talk some real like granular advice on how to get started, and let's bridge the gap between desires and action. Let's talk about how do you? All right, y'all. Everybody want this. Everybody want this lifestyle. Everybody want financial freedom. Everybody want to flex on the ground. All right, so what's stopping people from getting real estate? What's stopping people from stopping renting? You know, and I know it's the mind frame and everything like that, but let's give them some practical and pragmatic stuff to like I like what OJ said. He read the books and he got started with his own, and then went from that and just got a little taste of the money and just kept on going. So how can we?
It's like Craig told Smokey, you better get up off your shoulders.
Right. Start doing something.
Go get this money.
But everybody say this. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody say this. Everybody want it.
You know what, Brandon? What's interesting about that? First of all, I love the topic because I think, especially for our people, it's important for us to understand value and what's really, I like to start the conversation just saying, what are people's desires? Like, what do you really want? Because at the end of the day, if you're just trying to chase becoming a billionaire, you're going to be down that rabbit hole forever. Meaning, like, how many cars can you really have? How many planes can you have? How many, this lifestyle that's on the ground? For me, I actually kind of feel that's a little toxic for our culture, just a little bit. I like people like you started the question, what is your why? Like, what are you really trying to do? I got two kids. I got a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old. I'm trying to get through college without breaking the bank, right? I'm trying to live my life with stress-free, right? Like, I'm not trying to wake up thinking about how I'm gonna pay a bill. Like, everybody's why, but I think for us, we have to start to get more realistic with our whys. It can't be, oh, I gotta have 2 planes or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
More realistic and not just, oh, I want to be the best or whatever, but how are you going to get there?
Right, the methodology. But let's, I'll go ahead and start it off, kick it off. I like what OJ said about reading. It's still, I think, it's evolved since Chris Rock said this in the 90s that, books are like kryptonite to us. I think what's replaced books are memes and reels. So we don't read no more, but we read these comments. We read reels. So we don't. A lot of us don't read books. All we try to do these pamphlets that these influencers give out. All right, so we reading on how to do this, but all right, what's stopping you? Why are you renewing your lease? Why are you? What's the delay? when it comes down, when the rubber meets the road? What's the delay? So I'll open that up to y'all. I would say one of the first things is let me give the advice. My thing is one of the first things besides educating yourself is go ahead and go ahead and dip your toe in the water. At least get an ugly house. Get something. I think a lot of times we were talking about this earlier. Chris and I, CJ and I was talking about this earlier. We were dealing with first time home buyer. They want the Taj Mahal. First time, way too much house. Can't afford it. Way too much house.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 9 times out of 10, too. They're not even gonna stay in that.
Right. So we got to get first thing out is mentality. Get out of the one and done. Get an ugly house, at least to get some cash. And then, instead of that rent, you look 2 years later, that's that could be $50,000-$60,000 that's in your pocket. So that would be my first advice right there. Go ahead, just start. They say when the best was if you want to swim, go ahead, just dive in, get into it. So I'll start with that, and I'll go ahead and open the mic up.
I think
Fear
is one of the biggest things. Fear,
right?
Fear of failure. Fear of if I go out there and, like you say, you wondering how you gonna pay your bills. If I go out there and it don't work out, then what? Jobs make us complacent because every 2 weeks or every week or however you getting that check. But with investing, it's not like that. So there's fear. Fear is a big monster.
Yeah, and one of my statements is, who the enemy of fear is? Education. Education is fear's number one enemy. They don't like each other, right? Fear feeds on your lack of knowledge. Fear feeds on your lack of education, right? Fear feeds on your lack of not knowing, right? And for me, the more we know, the less fear we're gonna have. But I agree 1,000%, man. It's fear that holds people back. But I like Brandon's point too. I kind of think, especially for our culture, we kind of overhype the process a little bit.
Right, facts.
Like we make it bigger than what it is. It's a big deal, 100%. But I think a lot of us, we comfortable with rent. We comfortable with paying somebody else's lifestyle, paying somebody else's mortgage. We comfortable with that. And because we're overhyping this process, well, I can't get my Taj Mahal. I can't get what I want. Well, I can't get this, whatever. You're okay with hopping around from rental to rental every couple years, but you're not okay with buying a house every. Like that right there is always it always bothers me a little bit.
Man, that rent's gonna go up every year.
All right. And Corey, I got you muted. I think you got an echo. So if you
like Corey in
want
a
to talk,
pool over there.
Yeah, so when you want to talk, just unmute yourself. I got you muted. You got a little bit of feedback.
But now it's like jump off the porch. You got to get out here and get active.
Right.
Like you're trying to learn. You might not even make money on the first one if you just go partner with somebody to learn some game.
Right. Well, I mean, even for your first initial house, for your, I think this is my philosophy. I'll see if y'all agree. I think we train to look at our mom and our grandmother. Our mom and our grandmother, they stayed in this particular house all their life, for the most part. And there was one and done. Times have changed, we used to have $7,000, $15,000 houses. Those are gone, So the average person stays in the house, lives in the house, 5 to 7 years? And most other nationalities came and mastered this. They'll get the whole family in one house and save up their money and then go ahead and flip that. And I don't understand the fear part. I know I'm kind of running two things together because I think somebody said this on Instagram the other day. You get into the problem, sell it. Sell it. So, rent's going to be due every month. It's like the mortgage is going to be due every month. You lose your job or something like that, sell it. So, but that's that scarcity mindset. Like, what are you afraid of? Either way, you're going to have a roof over your head. So why not use that as your first investment? But and I think we so used to, we don't look at it as an investment. We look at it as one and done. This is going to be my forever home.
Yep. And it's that thing like Barrett talking about fear. Like a lot of people go negative first. Like, what happens if, instead of like, I see this working and let's get to it.
Right.
Because it's uncharted territory for a lot of us. So to get out there and do it is very difficult.
And like you said, with looking at our mothers and grandmothers, a lot of us wasn't raised like that, so we don't know about investing because they did. I mean,
Right.
my mother got her first house when I was getting ready to graduate from high school.
Right.
She had been renting up until I was in high school, so you can't go. I couldn't go to her and say, "Hey, mom, how do you invest?" So,
Right.
You know,
Right.
That's a good point. We don't have the other cultures. The investment mind frame is already baked in to the culture.
It's almost with other cultures.
Right.
It's almost, we have to invest, and I think that's
Right.
the issue where we have to get into two things. I think are pretty crucial. One, we have to understand that investing is a necessity, not a want or extra or whatever. That's number one. And two, we have to view our first homes as an investment. That's one of the biggest issues that I see when new investors come to me for coaching, whatever. Oh, I wanted my first investment property. You know, my first question back to them is, do you own your own home?
Right.
Now I'm investing, I coach investors, but I tell people off the rip, if you don't own your own home, let's go focus on that first.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And what's crazy is people don't want to hear that. They be like, oh my God, I want a rental, whatever. No, but here, and I tell people real quick, if you're renting, you're paying someone's mortgage. That's just the way it works.
Yep.
Right? Like that, you're gonna 9 times out of 10, you're paying more than somebody's underlying mortgage. So if you buy correctly, see, that's the key. You know, I tell people all the time, look, if you're paying $2,000 in rent, don't be out here trying to get a $3,000 mortgage. Like that,
Right.
that don't work, right? That don't work. Go ahead, get your first investment. And if y'all heard my story to begin with, I bought my personal house first 17 years ago. I still live in home. This same home bought 4 investment properties itself, right? And so I think a lot of us don't view our personal home as an asset. We look at it like a car or some other nonsense that we spend our money on, and we don't understand that our houses can be assets that can work for us and with us.
Right. Well, that's the. I'm gonna let Corey go ahead and jump in there, but that's the thing that I think is the most important as far as that actual boogeyman that's not really there. Is that we have in our mind that we're stuck. We have in our mind that this is it. You know, this is, you know, and we have this. The last thing we have in our mind is that, all right, you've been working at this place for 10 years. Why do you figure all of a sudden, like, as soon as you get this house, you're gonna lose your job? You know, do you play football and say, all right, man, I know, but I'm gonna get this salary. But you know, my first year, I'm probably gonna get hurt. You know, so I really don't want to go hard. So I mean, what other person outlook? I mean, why do we have this outlook like we're not going to be stable? If your credit is good now to get a home and get an apartment, most likely you get a house.
And especially when the qualifications for renting now is just the same, pretty much. You know what I'm saying, as purchase of the house.
Sure, it's harder to rent now than it is to buy.
Exactly. It's almost.
I'll tell you right now, I ain't letting nobody in my rentals at all.
Right.
At all. And I think a lot of that is, that's a great point you brought up, just about just the credit, and people feel like they're gonna lose their job and all this kind of stuff. And because to me it goes back to, do you understand that this house is an asset, right? But because if you buy the property right up front with equity, things of that nature, and for me, I'm fine with buying an ugly home. You mentioned earlier, I mentioned buy that ugly home, fix that ugly home out, get that line of credit. Right. See, if you had a line of credit and then you lost your job, you actually can float for a while. Exactly. Right. Exactly. If you actually owned a house, keeping it real, if you owned a house and you lost your job, now we got trick. We some professionals on here. We know the answer to this, but I'm gonna get a trick question. Right. How quickly are you on the street if you owned versus you rent?
Exactly. Oh, way quicker when you rent.
I can get you out in 6 weeks, bro. I can evict you in 6 weeks.
And we said that.
How long does that foreclosure take, though?
Right. We said that a while back. And then stuff like this, man, it was the lights ain't even been back on 5 minutes on Saturday. No, it was Sunday. No, excuse me, that Monday. Bam. I already got an email. Hey, y'all exempt. Y'all been declared in 90 days.
They all call me. They all call. All your mortgage companies call. Hey, you fine?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on. I got another question for you, Andre. Have you done cash outs in your current house more than once?
Yes, I've been able to leverage my home 4 times. I'm a little bit more exotic with it. I've extended to 30. I've gone down to 15 notes before. I've gone up and down based on where we're at in any given moment. But again, that's called equity, right? So that that's not for now. If you want to go be Susie Homemaker and go live in the burbs and go buy the brand new construction with no equity, now I'm just saying, right? If you go on that route, then that's that route. I bought into an established neighborhood. Right. I bought the ugliest home on the block for the cheapest price on the block, and we put in the work. Like, look, I got me and my wife, we put in the work. So, but equity is real. So I'm a big fan of what they call forcing appreciation, right? You force that appreciation, get your equity out, and then you can play and you can do some moves.
Man, I got a question for you.
Right.
So when you were saying you put in sweat equity, did you already know how to do some of those things, or did you learn as you go?
I ain't had no daddy.
Okay.
That's
good for the people that's thinking they don't know how to do nothing.
Look, my mom had 4 kids. Okay, my older brother had already went to college. I tell you what I could figure out. Right?
Yeah.
I could figure out, put some mini blinds up and put some paint on the wall. Okay, and halfway in the lines. That's what I knew. But keeping it real, I just tell people, and especially for any females out there, because the females they be like, oh, well, I don't know, and the contract is gonna screw me with it. Look, real simple. One, if you don't know nothing, you can always go to Home Depot. Pretty much everybody that works at Home Depot are specialists. They real specialists. They have licensed electricians up there, plumbers, etc., etc. Man, I found me a good old school handyman from the hood, and I just got in there with him. And I paid attention. So anybody, if you ever do any work on your house, I always tell people, watch the guy. Don't stand over them, but watch him work with them. Yep. And many of my contractors will tell you, I'm part of the team. I'm their runner. Even though I'm the boss, I'm their runner. Oh, I need this shower valve. I need this kit, whatever. I don't know what that is. And you know what I tell them? Send me a link to Home Depot.
Right. Yep. I'll go get it.
I'll go get it. And over time, you're gonna figure out, okay, well, this is this and this is that. And look, now that my wife is a former teacher, educator, and she's now in the business and she running some of our flips now. And female, whatever, like she ain't know none of this stuff either. But now I just send her the link, go get that, and show up. I tell people to show up on the job, and you don't be out here just thinking you prissy and trying to write checks. Get in there, haul, I'll haul some tile. I'll do what I didn't bought. I got now. Fast forward 17 years later, my garage is full with every tool known to man. Right. So I got every tool now. But that's, it takes some time though, and I love, again, just bringing it back to the topic on, this stuff. A lot of people, we want this instant gratification.
Right.
This is a long game. Real estate is not a get rich quick scheme. This ain't crypto. This ain't none of this other stuff. This ain't stocks and all this other kind of mess. This is a long game. It takes some time, but tell me another avenue, right, where you can put up $20,000 and own 100, and then someone else pay the whole thing off for you. Mm-hmm. I don't know of another avenue. Right. If you go buy a $300,000 house and you get a renter that can cover that note, over time, sooner or later, you're going to have $300,000 towards your retirement.
Right. And you got somebody else funding your retirement.
Somebody else is funding it.
Right. And then we don't understand that we on the flip side, we're funding somebody else's retirement. And then we get mad at them because they live in the lifestyle that you saying that you want, but you're not doing anything about. Well, man, you hit something hard right before you went into that how did and it's partly a question. Like we want too much too early, and it's more about other people and stunting and living with the Joneses as opposed to being smart. You know,
Man,
like
bro.
you said, you bought the ugliest house in an established neighborhood.
My friends
You
was
know?
clowning me, man. They was clowning me. I was 26.
Right.
And look, I'm in the frat. I party, we go out, and my friends was clowning me. Real talk. I hope this resonates with somebody. My boys like, hey man, what you doing over there? Well, let's go here, let's go there. And I'm like, I'll be there in 30, 40 minutes. Why you can't be there now? Well, I gotta finish. I'm laying these tiles, I'm laying these floors, I'm painting something or whatever. Oh man, what you doing that for? Okay. Like and you mentioned something. If I saw the Joneses on the street, I'll stab him in the back. They're the worst for our community.
Hey, bro.
I don't know. This is I mean, but you know, just that whole idea, keeping up with the Joneses is literally the worst thing for our community, right? Like just for our people, because that's what we do. We want to stunt, we want to show off, we want to whatever. And I remember, you know, again, this ain't stunting, but this is just what it was. All my friends was buying the brand new stock houses in Fresno and all these places at the time. And I had this ugly ass, big ass house. But then after it was all said and done, I had the biggest house. I was the only one that had hardwood floors first. I was the only one that had granite first. And this is when, you know, it was hot, you know, it's 2008. You know, people ain't had all that kind of fly stuff off the rip, right? And so, you know, I had that. And then everybody else like, oh, I'm gonna go get these floors too. And they dropping 15 grand on, they dropping all these big checks and trying to keep up. And I'm like, no, we're just doing this out the mud. And we have to understand the long game of it. Because at the end of the day, I tell you right now, I'm not paying for my kids' college fund. My tenants are. Real talk. Like, that's 100%. I don't have a 529 plan. I don't need one. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. My retirement. I got a decent job. My wife had quit. She gave up her pension after 15 years. Now she'll get something, but she ain't gonna get a whole pension. But it's all good because we got rental properties that like we were pretty much in that retirement zone. You know what I'm saying? Like we're moving into that in that world, and this isn't. That's the main thing that you know. I'm sure y'all preach this every time y'all go live. Real estate really ain't that complicated, y'all. This is it really not that complicated.
Can you buy, it is.
I know, but that's why I try to keep it simple, man.
Right.
Can you buy something for a price and you got a mortgage? And that's what the price is, the mortgage. And is somebody willing to pay more for it? Rent.
Right.
Let me say this. The question I wanted to ask is this is what I find out, and I'll probably open the can of worms by saying this, but you know, I always got to keep it real. How did you get the wife to buy on to, hey, let's go ahead and sacrifice?
Oh, let's talk about it.
Because that's most, you know, that's what most guys do. They follow, well, wifey want this, and they're gonna go pay for wifey, and the wifey gonna go. She's gonna go in.
Oh, we have to talk about it now. Okay, so look, I keep it real. I keep it 100. All right, so I married a Delta. Okay, now what we know about some of these Deltas, right? They all woman. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, my wife a Delta too, bro.
Yeah, hey, you know, they all women. But I will also say, and again, we all 5 black men on the thing, so we're gonna keep it all 100. It's our leadership, right? Not enough of us want to be leaders in our household. We want women to submit. We want to quote unquote call ourselves kings. Then let's be that, right? Yeah. You know, come up with a plan. Understand you're gonna have to sell your woman on the plan. And look, let's keep it real. If you can't sell your woman on the plan, you can't sell on nothing, right? We have to be visionaries to our family. What we're trying to do, you know. So for me, a lot of that was around, you know, one, having a vision, having a plan that's laid out and thoughtful, right? That I'm just not pulling this out my butt. I spent a year planning on our first real estate purchase. Right. I spent a year in Dallas planning on our purchase in Houston. So that's number one. 2, which gets to a different conversation, which affects the youth of today or the younger people today, a different generation. Man, y'all gotta look at who y'all trying to marry. Y'all gotta look at who y'all trying to date.
We talked about this before.
Like look, let's keep it real. If you ain't talking about, if this woman don't understand how to be a partner, if she don't understand how to be a team, if she don't understand how, hey, you know, it's time for me to fall back, And sometimes, and look, my wife will lead on certain stuff, and I'll lead on other stuff. But if you not, that's not the woman for you. So and that's why I see a lot of younger brothers these days, and our value structures, I think, and how we want to choose the type of women we want to get with, I think is a little off. You know what I'm saying? Just real talk. But keeping it real, man, is sacrifice. If y'all heard through my conversation, I'm talking about present and past tense with my wife. So she's still the same woman I'm with. So it did take some sales. I got videos of her getting in the mud with me, real talk. And so
that's the more miraculous than anything. It's like, because that's the real sales skills. I gotta tip my hat, because a lot of them ain't gonna want, like, you want me to stay where, and so you gotta.
So my wife has earned. She has earned her percentage of the wealth, right? Like, because we did live through as I mentioned earlier, we started our rehab process. We were renting, and our lease was up, and some of our money got stolen by our initial contractor. And so I had to literally finish off the project. We had to move into a construction zone. So she has lived through construction at least 2 or 3 times. I've done a lot of crazy stuff. My wife was a teacher. She could probably tell you many stories of her closing on property on the hood of her car outside of Lockhart Elementary. Like, that's a fact, right? Like she has definitely been a trooper, meaning, like, there's been several times where I've called her out the blue on her lunch break. Hey, babe, yeah, I just bought a house today, and my boy, he gonna come. My loan officer and them, the title guys, they gonna come close at your parking lot. So she has closed at several in the parking lots before. Right. So that takes a different type of, and that's why I go back to, it's about how we choose the women that we rolling with, and because at the end of the day, if she ain't riding with you, then what you with her for?
Right.
I got a comment. The sister said, Brandon said, the wrong woman will ruin you financially.
Facts.
Right.
We didn't see that, but it's been us or somebody else. We didn't see it. Right.
See it every day.
Let's kind of switch gears a little bit. Same token, we're gonna switch sides. But let's, first of all, before we do that, y'all get the comments coming in. We're gonna read them live on the air. So not only Facebook, I need LinkedIn, I need YouTube. We're live on Instagram as well. So go ahead and put the comments in the box. We'll read them live on the air. So keep it coming. Let's switch gears a little bit. Same topic. Advice on the gap between desires and action. However, let's talk about people that's in the business. And we got what 80,000 now real estate agents just in Houston alone, and maybe 3,500 of them actually doing something.
49,000.
What 40? Yeah, we're about 49.
Getting double the numbers.
49,000, right? Agents, and they got what 3,500 actually putting the ball in the hoop. So would that be safe to say? So,
what they said, like only half of the realtors did one deal or less last year.
Right. So a lot of them, if you look at their gram, I don't know if they're renting, they capping, because I look at the numbers, nah, it ain't all for real estate. So how do we give advice to these people that's, again, trying to get in the game, and actually, and especially in our community, I don't know, is it they want the results before they actually put in the actual work? What's the situation with this, and why not more of us performing, especially in our areas? If you look at the areas who's selling in our areas, we're not even the top salespeople in our areas. So just giving advice to people that's not only agents but real estate investors as well.
Yeah, I think you made a good comment when we're talking about we're not trying to downplay part-time agents, but in a market like this, being part-time, you're not really helping yourself in your business. I understand, you may need that job, but if you're ever going to leverage that and get out of that situation where you start working for yourself, eventually you gotta put more time in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a problem. Like, I got in and I was full-time from the gate, But I could see it's a total mentality change when you go from working corporate to switching over to 1099. So you eat what you kill instead of you work and you do your job and you still get paid every other Friday.
Right.
So it ain't everybody ain't built for it.
Right. Corey and
we don't work, we don't eat, we don't grind, we don't shine.
No, for real.
Barry, Corey, y'all want to get in on that before before we open it up all the way?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to that fear, and also a lot of them don't know or don't want to do what it takes to get to that level.
So what's the advice?
Like say some people want to get, they want to shine, but they don't want to go through the grind to get to it.
Right.
Sure, I say the advice is do like kids, like like students that want to learn different professions. Go shadow somebody. Right. Take some time and go actually see what it takes to do the job. Especially on the investment side. You think you're just gonna go in there and throw some paint on some walls. And little do you know it's gonna take a little more than that, player. So go get that. Like experience is the best teacher. That's what they always say. Experience is the best teacher. So go get some experience and just go see what it's like. And Andre, you said you got a course or something, right? People can sign up for.
Yeah, for anybody that is on man, if you hit me up, DM me at any one of my accounts, Onaje Barnes, wherever, or Onaje 10K, I will actually, anybody that's live, I will get you a free course on wealth building. This is literally an hour-long course. It's completely free. It's my first course I ever did. It's really good. And again, it just gives you my whole philosophy on just wealth building. It ain't no get rich quick scheme, but it is my 13-point plan hey, burst strategy, building a team, how to find that whole deal, right? What from the rooter to the tutor. They ain't gonna lay it all out for you. Right? but it'll get you from the running around in the rat race, at least a direction. And that goes for realtors, lenders, and first-time investors. We all need direction. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle at, right? It's that fear, and the fear blinds us from finding a clear direction. And then we have to have the fortitude, because to me, real estate's a game of mental fortitude. How focused can you be in sticking with something? Because it's tough. I can tell you right now, I'm doing a flip out in Katy right now, and we had the whole tornadoes hit. I had trees fall down all over the place, and that could have derailed me. Yep. But we have to get up and keep going, and especially for a lot of the realtors that's not eating right now, for a lot of the loan officers that's not eating right now, y'all gotta keep it moving, right? We can't sit up here and just be like, "Woe is me" or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like if you're not out here willing to grind, if you're not out here willing to work or whatever, and just think outside the box, shadow somebody, ask questions. So many people are afraid to ask a question. I ain't never been afraid to ask no question.
Right. Had to pick up the phone.
Corey, you want to chime in on that before I go in? I got to see, my little 2 cents, but I'm gonna say mine aloud.
Get on your soapbox for a second.
My little
well,
soapbox.
You said my thing is with it goes back to what Onaje said earlier, which is education. I think education is the biggest thing. I think a lot of these shallow thoughts that we have, and a lot of they say, quote unquote, they said it's a bad time to buy. They said it's not a good time. They said interest rates is too high. We rely too much on other people that are not educated to give us the advice that we need, essentially. So I think you've said once you educate yourself and you kind of change that mindset a little bit, you will stop going to the electrician for plumbing advice and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You will go to the direct person that you need to get that information from and stop listening. Mama and daddy mean the best, but they ain't bought a house in 30 years. If they bought a house at all. So you know what I'm saying? They may not be the right person to go to, even though they have your best interest. So I get tired of hearing that they say, you know what I'm saying, we're going to hold off because they said this, that, and the third. So it goes back to education. I think, you know what I'm saying, you find the education in this day and age. It's so easy with technology. Right. Hell, Onaje is offering a free course right now. So you know what I'm saying, you have no excuse.
Right.
Go get the education and do what you need to do to better your wealth.
Let me tell you why I think that it's trust, and it's trust. We have a thing with trust. I think we watch too many movies in our community, too many gangster movies and power and stuff like that, where we don't trust, and especially people that look like us. We have a thing with trust, and we thinking that I'm just trying to sell you, or I'm just trying to make my next commission, and I don't have your best interest at heart, which is crazy. And you'll go to somebody outside your community that has nothing in common with you and think that they have your best interest at heart. It's bananas to me, So
They don't. They don't.
You've been in the rooms when they don't. They'll take your money, but they'll take your money with the pinch in their nose, So this is what it is. So is the trust factor. So I want to get on this as far as performance, because this is kind of my area, and that's kind of what I always say. I'm not the hot blonde. I don't have the Barbie doll or the Ken doll look. However, I just have a ferocious grind. And I think the reason why we don't perform and a lot of us fall by the wayside is that we say we want it, but we really don't. We say we want all these things, but we want it handed to us. And I did the show last week. Everybody was kind of blacked out, and I did the motivational stuff. The boy Wes Watson, especially as men, we got to be superheroes to our family. He said something very prolific. He said, "Man, we got to be a superhero to our family. We got to not only take care of ourselves, we got to take care of." He said, "A good man take care of his kids. So you got to be extraordinary, especially due to our circumstances how we here. So you got to be on it, and we're not leveled as far as how some of these females can get away with things. We got to be, we got to can the excuses. There is no excuses. You got to be a superhero to your family. Your kids got to look up to you. And a lot of us lost that. Is this mindset, like Corey said, is this you need a ferocious grind and you need to go ahead and take action. Patrick said that something that I'm gonna take to the grave a couple of shows ago. He said everything works, nothing don't. Everything works, nothing don't.
Right.
So do something. Everything works. Everything works. We get deals off of the podcast. We get deals. Everything works. Do something. And I think what happens is that, especially in this generation, I think we just this new generation will just want stuff handed to it. There's no pride in the job. There's no pride in wanting to be the best. That's what it starts on. At least you got your pride and wanting to, and you outdo yourself, and then from there, your work will show for itself, and other people won't buy into your work.
Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked before. Like, it's not a get rich quick thing, and it ain't sexy, so people don't want to do it.
Well, they make it sexy. They try to make it sexy on the ground.
These bottle girl realtors definitely be.
Hey, it's a lot going on between the commercials and the next video that they ain't showing you.
right. Man, I think I did the Fresh and Fit reaction clip last week, and I watch the show quite often, and they always, when they have realtors on the show, the female realtors like, all right, you sold anything? Most of them know. So their realtor, you passed the test, but I don't think you broke the ice yet. You got to actually sell real estate in order to be called a realtor. So it's
and what's great? It's not a super, people portray it as it's easy. It's not easy, and I think that's the issue. Is that there's a lot of what you said. Everything works, but nothing don't.
Right.
If you focus and you lock in and you focus on whatever your craft is, you can make whatever you need to make. But are you willing to do it? Right? Are you willing to put in the work and figure out what the hard work is? Right? Or do you quit when that first obstacle comes? Because there's gonna be obstacles and there's gonna be a lot of them. Right? There's gonna be a lot of them. Right? Now, how many of us? Raise your hand if quote unquote interest rates are hurting you, right? Everybody, interest rates, whatever, right? Okay, for me, as an investor, I'm like, See, I'm looking at this differently. When interest rates go up, I'm like, I'm getting salivating. Why? because other people getting pushed out the market, and I know they weak minded, right? See, I'm not worried about nobody else. I'm not worried about them. I'm gonna be buying real estate every day, all day, and twice on Sundays, right? We buy a lot of real estate and so on Sundays. We buy them during Christmas. I love buying real estate during Christmas. Why? Because ain't nobody
looking.
Ain't nobody looking, right?
Everybody on vacation mode.
Everybody on vacation mode. These are the times to actually jump in the game. When interest rates are high, when everybody's talking negative. Because last time I checked, the game is called buy low, sell high. It's not buy high, sell high. Right? You know what I'm saying? So these are the moments where we got to get in the game. Well, everybody, my man Corey hit it on the nail. I hope y'all drop some gems on my man. He said, look, everybody's worried about they. Whatever they talking about, go the opposite way of what they and them talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because true investing is about being a contrarian a little bit. You going that way, if the herd is moving one way, you might want to at least go see what the opposite way is talking about. And I'm not saying not to be silly. You want to be thoughtful about it. But right now, there's a lot of great deals on the market right now. A lot of sellers historically, and y'all been around for a while, sellers are dropping a price much quicker in this market than historically they have, because it's like, oh my God, my property ain't selling 3 weeks.
Right.
These are the times. Shoot your shot. This is when you got to shoot.
Right.
You know, and I'm gonna be quiet on this one, but I love basketball and I love sports analogies. Right. Steph Curry is the best 3-point shooter of all time. Most people will say that, right? And maybe you argue somebody else, but he's one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. You know what? He's missing 6 out of 10 shots. He's missing 6 out of 10.
Right.
You can't win no game if you ain't shooting, y'all.
Right.
Well, we talked about this on a few podcasts back. I think shame in our community of fear of failure is really real. I think we don't step out on that porch. We don't take risks because we realize that, you know, just like look what's happening with Diddy. If you mess up, you on your own. And most likely you're gonna get ridiculed, you're gonna get laughed at. And so that's one of our biggest fears is like failure, especially in our community. We're not gonna embrace you. We're gonna ridicule you. You know, we're gonna you messed up, told you shouldn't did it. That's us. Yeah. So there's no encouragement, like, you know, oh man, look, all right, man, we'll get them next time. It's told you, man, you should have been with us, down with us, man. I told you should have read a couple of more years. Told you. You know, either way, we're a lot of fence riders. If you do well, you're gonna say, I knew you was gonna do it. You fail, man, I told you was gonna do that. You know,
but here it goes.
Fence is a good political way to say it.
But I'm saying it takes a strong-minded individual to take that risk, right? Because you know what I'm saying, a lot of entrepreneurs fail on certain things, but you actually learn lessons. But guess what? When you win, everybody's right there. Oh man, I knew you was gonna do it. Right. I knew you was gonna do it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there with, man, put me on the deal. Let me get on one of your next deals. No, y'all didn't want to take the risk. Right. Now y'all want to jump in after y'all see success. So you know what I'm saying, it's a double-edged sword. It works both sides.
How do we get over that phobia? Because that's a real thing. It's like, you ever seen somebody that had arachnophobia or something like that? That's a real thing. You can't just tell them, hey man, don't stop being scared of spiders. We're
gonna have to start hypnotizing everybody.
and you know what? Keeping it real, and I had to learn this the hard way. And I'm very loyal to my friends and where I come from. But some say, hey man, everybody ain't ready to get on this train. Right. Yeah. The train is leaving the station, and whoever's on it is on it. And sometimes you might have to get some new friends. Sometimes you got to get some new people around you. That's part of it too.
Gotta let them go.
And you gotta build a team. Right, that's what game day is about. That's what I teach in my class. That's what we talk about. You got to build a team of like-minded people, because what you can't do to brand this sport, you can't have all that negative. This right here, they're gonna tear you down.
Yep.
You know, and some of your friends, they could be your go out buddy. They could be your go do whatever person, right? They could be your travel person. They could be your kid's godfather, whatever. But they may not need to be your real estate investor partner.
Right.
Keeping it real. You want them to come with you, but you might be busy. This happened to me, real talk.
Mhm.
I got a lot of friends that they not in real estate, and it hurts my heart that they not in real estate. Real like this is from the truth right now. I got a lot of friends. They knew when I got started. They could have got started with me. We were talking about it. They were talking about it. They was quote unquote rooting for me to succeed, but really they weren't. They really weren't.
Let's wait and see.
They really wasn't. Right? And we still cool.
Right.
But not when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to this, I don't need your negative energy. I don't need you, low key. Oh, that's awesome that you finished that, but you wouldn't hear me with me in the mud when I put out the bat signal. Said I'm in trouble. Did you show up to help me tile out this sucker? Because I've been in there. We've all been. I've been there. Hey man, I'm over budget right now. I need a bat signal. Hey y'all, can y'all come over here and paint a wall with me or something? Yeah. Right. So we all gotta sometimes block out, and that's where I think having that plan, being a leader of yourself and your household. Right, understanding this is what I'm going to do because I know this is the right thing to do regardless of the noise, because that's the problem with our community, right? More of us don't own than own. Every other ethnic group in America has over 50% home ownership except Black people. Right. So that means is more of us don't own. You're more likely to meet somebody that doesn't own than own.
Exactly.
So you got more noise, negativity in your mind talking, saying, don't do this, right? Don't keep on renting, keep doing this. Oh, this, whatever. So we have to hone in, especially as men. And I'm because again, we 5 brothers on here. We have to start to take more of a leadership position in our community and say, hey man, this is what we're about to do. I don't care what nobody about to say. And that's what we're going to keep it moving.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I got a question, and it may be in the course. Let me know if it's in the course. But and
give out all free. I give out all game.
Hey, all right. For the people that are in these markets that are considered hot, and prices are going up through the roof, and they're skeptical about the potential of finding a deal in these areas, what do you say to that?
Look, Houston, keeping it real, I own 11 single family homes. I've never bought one of them over 60 grand. So I understand, but that was a long time ago. Yeah. So it's a lot hotter now. Now, what I have to say is, one, get educated so you can understand cash flow and underwriting. That's number one, right? You got to understand, hey, what is we got a couple of loan officers on here. I'm not a loan officer. I'm not licensed, but I know my payment down to T. I'm not getting out of my car. I mean, I'm not getting out of my bed, okay, to go look at a property, right, without knowing what the payment's gonna be. I know my credit. I know what the taxes is. I know how to calculate. I can guesstimate my insurance. I know my PITI. So you can put all this in, right? So that's number one. Is go back to that education piece. Number two, how much do you want it? So if you want a deal, then maybe you're not looking on MLS.
Yeah.
Or like me, leadership. I twisted my wife's arm. She became licensed. My wife is a licensed realtor. She's been a licensed realtor for 17 years. Guess who uses her MLS more than her? Me. Yeah. So I'm in there at 2:00 in the morning. And this real. I'm in the MLS.
Hey,
right? I got my automatic emails on, right? You got your little notification, got your criteria on, right? And so I got my criteria. So I get my emails every morning on properties that hit the market, that hit my criteria. Guess what? When they hit my criteria, what I'm gonna do? Lunch break at the job, I'm driving out to some properties.
Yeah.
Right. I might go out and go. So it's really about how bad you want it. So I agree with you. Like, this is a hotter market. It's tougher. But the question is, how bad do you want it? How many wholesaler lists are you on?
And I was about to say that.
Right?
So
how much are you looking on the MLS every day?
Yep.
Right. How much are you looking every day? How many offers are you doing? This is the real one right here. This is the real gem right here. Anybody who said they can't find a deal, my immediate rebuttal is, how many offers did you do this week?
Right. Like Steph Curry, how many shots you put up?
We shooting shots, bro. You got to shoot shots. And if y'all remember when I told my story, I said, Property was listed for 180. They dropped to 165. I offered 135. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, how many shots did I had to shoot before I got that accepted?
Right.
So how you gonna score if you're scared to shoot the ball?
You can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, again, go back to that shooting three. If you shot 30% from 3-pointer, you might be in the league.
Right.
Right.
But by definition, you missing 7 out of 10 times.
And look at the baseball averages. Like if you
Yeah.
if you 300, you
a man.
You get.
But
You
yeah,
bet 300. You
speak on the market. Yeah.
So it's tough, but yeah, I think you got to keep shooting, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. So Brandon Nash, I got a comment on here. Nashville's market is $350 to $2 million for single family duplexes, around $570 to $1.5. That's similar to Houston, but if you get tapped in with some wholesalers, I'm connected with some. I'm getting deals under 200.
Right. Well,
So
let
it's
me
all about getting connected to the right people.
Let me twist this one more angle, and before I go to something, the last subject for the night, which is still all relates to the same thing. About I want one twist over. What is the solution? Because I see we're emboldened to do stupid stuff, foolishness. We're the main ones on TikTok and Instagram to do the foolishness. But how do we have that same bravado and translate that to actually taking the shots in the gym, which means on real estate? Well, I think I said this on last show. If I talk business, actually I had a business meeting today. Hey, I called a friend of mine. Hey, I got a business proposition. Boom, didn't answer the phone. But if I say, hey, I got 10 TVs fell off the back of the truck, it'll be all here.
They buy it.
What happened with the TVs?
I'm calling you at that point. Let me get a couple of them TV.
That Hashitashi.
But how do we get it can't be that we're scary people, because we're emboldened to do some of the more creative dances. We set the trends, so fashion and everything like that. So you're not scared to do anything. But why are we scared to actually do stuff that counts?
But that's normal though, right? See, the beautiful thing about Black people in America is that we lead on culture, but that's actually normal. Right? It's normal for us to come up with the hottest song anybody ever heard of. It's normal for us to come up with a new dance, right? It's normal for us to be the most elite athletes on the planet. These are actually normal. Mm-hmm. What's not normal is actually investing. What's not normal is 5 brothers on a Zoom call, on a social media call talking about real estate. That's not normal. Right. So when we talk about solutions, I think it's stuff like this. When you reached out to me, what did I say? I say less, I'm there, right? Exactly. Because we have to normalize these type of conversations. When you're doing a deal and the brother said, oh, he don't want to call you back because he don't want to put up no money, invite him out anyway. Right. Come out to I closed on the deal. I got one of my students, he kind of shot, he a little gun shy. I made him go see my property before I bought it at the auction. Okay. He went and saw it the first time. He took videos for me because I was on the other side of the city, and he actually saw me offer and buy a property that I didn't visit, which was wild to him, right? Mm-hmm. But I knew my numbers, and I know about real estate. I made him take certain pictures at certain spots, whatever. And I don't recommend that to newbies. Okay, don't do that, right? But I'm also like pull up, right? So a lot of my good friends who are gun shy pull up. Hey, y'all, I'm in the middle of it. Oh, this is crazy. And you know what? They don't see me sweat, right? So that's the kind of stuff we have to normalize. It's a tough road, bro. It's a tough road. You're right.
But the mission, like I said, the late great Kevin Samuels said, "Pressure's made for shoulders." So I got these broad shoulders for a reason. I mean, it is what it is, man. Like I said, it was too easy. It's easy to put myself on. I could do that all day, But if I ain't left a legacy with it, what's there to, what am I doing this for? So, I mean, we're tough people to try to get to do something, especially do it right, but, it is what it is. That's why this podcast this is the reprogram. I'm trying to reprogram the subconscious mind. Like, man, hey, look, it's cool to do things right. It's cool to actually make smart decisions instead of being foolishness. I know foolishness is cool, especially where I come from. It's like the dumber you are, the cooler you were, you know, which is crazy. You know, it's like the opposite. But you know, I'm trying to reverse it. Hey, why we can't be law-abiding citizens? Why we can't? Everybody else is doing this. Why can't we strive? We striving. We didn't invent basketball. We took it over. Why we can't take over this real estate game? You know. So,
brother, hey, you say that again, because
right.
I believe that in my heart, and that's the most amazing thing about our culture as Black people and Black men specifically. If you look at the history of America, ain't nothing that we didn't got onto and we decided that we was going to take over, we ain't took over.
Exactly.
The question, we just have to shift the types of things, our value structure, and what we want to decide that we want to take over. Because I truly believe, like, the most amazing thing in my real estate, whatever journey that I've witnessed, is actually the last 5 years where I see so many of our people actually getting involved in financial well-being and real estate, things of that nature. Because this wasn't cool when I got started. So right. I'm actually, it's only really the last few years when it's got cool or whatever. Right. And so what we have to do is, it's still not cool.
Yeah, we get a lot of cappers. A lot of people now is they seeing it, but a lot of people is that's what this show is about. They
capping a lot. They definitely capping.
But it's progress. We got more people that's interested now than it was 5-10 years ago.
Exactly.
You know exactly. So we'll just continue to progress. That's it.
Right.
It's a long road too.
This brings me to the last thing. Let's turn it one more notch. Let's the people that are successful in real estate, you know, are successful in our business, whether it be as an agent, as a loan officer, as a real estate investor. How do we take it to where we scale? And why do we not have the same type of corporate mind state that some of the other communities have? Because a lot of times when I just got burned, CJ know the backstory. I ain't gonna put it on a person that's wildly successful in his field, but still got that hood mentality, you know, and still this is not the streets, you know, this is corporate, you know, but you know when it's convenient, you won't go street. You know what I mean? Like, nah, this is, and the streets gonna, you know, it has no place here. It's cool, like everybody said Jay-Z, all that. Nah, there's no place for this. A lot of these corporate guys, they didn't come from the streets. Corporate is separate than streets.
And I don't know, dog. Like, Andre, if a contractor ran off of my money, man, I might have to go hide in the bushes or something.
I ain't gonna front. I'll tell you this. I mean, one of my biggest benefits is, you know, I am 6'3" and I did come from Yates, so that does help me sometimes. I don't use it all the time. I still got my glasses on and I got my UT Longhorn, so I live in both worlds, right? I graduated from UT and then I still got the Yates in me. So sometimes you got to let people know. And I think that, you know, again, sometimes we got to use our benefits in the right avenues, right? So for me, you know, I do let people know I ain't the one. And then they'll test me and I let them know I ain't the one. Right, I get tested by my tenants. I get tested by everybody. Right, I get tested by everybody. But Brandon, to get specific on what you're saying, you know, a lot of this again, it comes back to education. You know, when I first I was in the game for maybe my first 10 years, and I was still in single family. Okay, and the reason why I moved up to multifamily is because it wasn't moving fast enough. It was scaling, right? And I took to a good friend of mine I had met through some people named Kevin Rouse. Maybe y'all know Kevin, maybe you don't. Kevin, you know, Kevin is a gatekeeper for multifamily for Black people. You know, he teaches that.
He's big.
He big dude, right? And Kevin told me earlier, and I was like, Kevin, I ain't never invested with nobody. I was young and dumb at the time, and I ain't never invested with nobody. And Kevin was like, you know, these other groups of people, they will invest 20, 30, 50, 100 grand and never meet nobody.
Exactly.
And because they've done the homework. I
want to talk about that.
They've done the homework. They got their paperwork right. And so to answer your question specifically, we have to get with professionals and understand paperwork, right? Your cousin may not be your best realtor, keeping it real. Mm-hmm. Your cousin that just got their license may not be your best realtor to go to. I'm sorry. You can catch me when you get some more experience with somebody else, right? Your homeboy loan officer may not be. You got to ask these questions. How many loans deals have you done? Brandon, you got your NMLS number up. That's for y'all watching. That's a reason because he bragged. He said, "Look me up." I understand the game. He's saying, "Look me up." That's the confidence. You see what I'm saying? You got to roll with people that are professionals that understand confidence. Some of y'all think y'all can become a lawyer by looking at YouTube and figuring out an LLC. That ain't it, right? So we have to get with professionals and understand what the process looks like, and then fear starts to subside a little bit. For me, I never liked to invest with people, and then I had a little mentee. We sold him his first house, and he was like, "OJ, you not investing? Why you don't trust nobody?" Because I'm like, "Well, I'm from the hood. I don't trust nobody." And he came from a different type of environment. Next thing you know, he's sitting over 600 doors.
Exactly.
And I got him in the game. And he even lapped me 8 times over because he understood.
That's exactly the point I want to get to. Let me add context to what I'm saying. I think, and based on this story, that I don't know, I might tell a story. I don't know if could be a lot of eyes on us, but I think it hurts us in the long run to not. All right, let's start with this. Kevin Samuels had a show one time, and he was interviewing this young lady, and he was talking about the Will Smith situation where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and everybody that called in like, "Yeah, that was gangster. That was gangster." And he posed a question like, "All right, in our community, what's above gangster? What do you say? What's one notch better than gangster?" And nobody can answer. And it's almost like gangster is the highest compliment that you could give somebody in our community. So think about that. A gangster's an outlaw, a thug. So, and a lot of us still, whether subconsciously, we hold that value. And that's how, and wonder why other outsiders look at you like that. Because a lot of times I get, just based off my appearance, they thinking I'm doing some undercover stuff. Like, no, I'm not the one over here. I'm strictly by the books. If you only knew, I'm square all the way up and down. So you got the wrong one. But a lot of people have that perception of us, how we do business. How can you scale? And you got other people that'll do the same thing and just kind of copy us, and then have way more success because a lot of people trust them more. So how can we get out of this? And all right, let me tell a story, and I'm gonna try to keep it because it's still an ongoing beef right now. This is in a different field, but I got me and CJ and I invested in something, and we basically got scammed. And it's something outside of real estate. And when we press the person on it, you automatically jump the street. All right. So what are we talking about? I'm 40-something years old. You 40-something years old. We both got grown kids. So what's the street stuff coming from? This is the reason why people don't want to do business with us, because immediately if where's your customer service? Where's the customer's always right? Where's the contingency plan? If things go wrong like this, that hey, I have the budget to go ahead and take care of the customer instead of trying to intimidate the customer. And this is the reason why a lot of people don't want to do business. How can we switch the mind state from gangster thug to corporate? A lot of them other people, if somebody run off, they're gonna sue them. Ain't nobody this the 5'3" Jewish guy ain't fighting nobody. They calling the police. They suing. They getting their attorney. Why is that the first resort in our, to try to go street? And is that not hindering our progression? I'll leave that like that.
Yeah, I think, and I made this comment a couple shows ago, that Frederick Douglass quote: "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And there's a lot of us broken out here. So I think us as professionals, we're gonna have to do a better job at vetting and finding out who's really official, so that people can see who the real ones are. Because it's a lot of cappers. Like we see a lot of people faking it on the gram and everything, lying, taking people's money. You see a lot of gurus getting hemmed up right now with Jay Morris, and it's like all those guys is getting jammed up right now. So I think we got to do a better job at vetting other professionals to make sure they are up to par with what we're doing, and that they have the same mentality. Like I was mentioning, Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics book, that we can't build if we're all trying to do the same thing. We got to have a vertical growth versus horizontal. We can't all be realtors. We can't all be loan officers. We all can't sell flat tummy tea. Like we all got a purpose. Instead of chasing what everybody else is doing, trying to get that quick money,
Right.
focus on what your skills are and what your purpose is,
Sell at that.
and that'll be it.
Right.
I like that.
You know, I want to make sure we leave the people, have people some value just based on that subject, because you're right. There are a lot of people getting exposed right now. And you know, I had a call from a friend of mine. He was a coaching client from about 3 years ago. I hadn't heard from him in 3 years, and he called me out the blue, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on? You all right?" And he was like, "Hey, you know, what can I do? I feel like I got scammed out of 20 grand." And I was like, "Well, tell me what happened." Well, I gave 20 grand to somebody, and they had some type of trading platform software, some nonsense like that, right? And I was like, "Well, who was it?" And I knew the person. It's a well-known influencer on social media. But I was like, and I asked him a simple question. I said, "Do you know his name?" And he was like, "No." And I said, "Because all his social media is by a pseudonym. I don't know this person's name."
Right.
And we have to get back to some basics, y'all.
Yeah.
When we talk about vetting, who is giving away 20 grand? Okay. Who's giving away 20 grand? Sorry about that, y'all. Who's giving away 20 grand to somebody that they don't know their name?
Right. That's crazy.
That's kind of crazy. But that's what people do online. It's kind of wild. So we have to ask some basic questions, right? Hey, I got this deal. Can you put up some money? Well, sir, madam, how many deals have you done?
Right.
People are not asking that. There's people around town that have raised all kind of capital, and they've only done 3 or 4 deals.
Yeah.
Mm.
That don't make no sense. Well, I got this great deal. Well, what's your exit plan? I'm gonna flip it. Well, how many flips have you done? That's not a hard question to ask, right?
Right.
Hey, I want to invest in this multifamily syndication. Well, how many syndications have you done? That's an easy question to ask. Or here's another one. Can you put me in contact with one of your investors? Can I talk to them? That's an easy question to ask.
Right. Simple stuff.
You know, so we have to get back to that. And I think honestly, part of the problem is we've let because we're big on social media, we're giving too much clout to people that don't deserve clout, right?
Yep.
Because clout to me is my man Brandon in his bio he said I can close over $170 million in deals. That's clout, right? Not 100,000 followers, because you know you can just buy fake followers, right? So you know, for me, I like to see us use a little bit more discernment, right? Because what I hate right now, what I like right now is that a lot of these fakes are getting exposed. I love that. But what I hate is that that's putting a bad negative thought in people's mind.
Yeah.
You know, Jay Morrison, nobody should ever give that dude money. Well, but why? Because they weren't asking questions.
Right.
Has he ever actually invested in commercial real estate? No. Nobody asked the question.
Nope.
Right? What was he teaching? Fix and flip? Did he actually anything know about rent? I'm not railing on the guy. I'm just telling you, before then, he had never proven that he did these things. So
well, you know, in our community, we chase shiny objects. We've known to do that from, you know, the reverends back in the days to the snake oil salesman and so on and so forth. But we always did chase shiny objects, you know, and whatever, all that's glittered, the old cliche where everything that glitters is not always gold. but we always get tricked on that. But it's not necessarily. I get it. Yes, we do need the vet, but however, can we take accountability on, like, hey, do we need to play into the stereotype of everything we got to do? We try to get over, or can we get some businesses that's honest and hold everybody else accountable, like the real business owners and the leaders of the community start running these people that's scamming our people out of business?
But Pookie gonna Pookie now.
Right.
Right.
So that's my only thing is that let's not elevate Pookie to do Pookie things.
Right.
That's my pushback. That's why going back to game day. I tell people I'm bringing in vetted people that I know have done it. Whether you got a lot of followers or you don't have a lot of followers, I don't care, right? Because I want real experts in front of my people that's going to talk to my people. And see, I think as experts in the industry, we have to make sure that we're not giving no more clout to Pookie and them, right? And there's some Pookies in them and out there. We know them. You know what I'm saying? We might be thinking in the back of our head, man, I think that dude Pookie and them, he ain't really you know what I'm saying? And we have to. Pookie and them don't get to play in the game. We got to push them out. And I you know, because it's like, well, why are they acting gangster? Well, because Pookie gonna Pookie.
Unless we get them out, unless we stand for something, get them out of the game. Because what happens is, don't forget, from a distance, you can't tell the difference. And a lot of people are not gonna have the tolerance, especially coming outside our community, not gonna have the tolerance to try to figure out the difference. You know, it's like, all right, let me go here because at least I know over here it's gonna have some type of accountability. You know, I guess we're gonna have to form some type of gatekeeper. Like, all right, hey, you know, we're gonna run you out because again, we protected everybody's table. Because what happens is one person can ruin the whole the actual image of everybody else, and then from there it's hard to eat.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But I like what he said is ask questions.
Right.
I mean that's something simple. Ask questions.
Right. But what about somebody that's trying to get into the game that don't have?
Here's the thing, you said, is that a lot of our people, you know, are nervous or scared because they figure like, you know, I'm saying, oh, I'm putting this guy on a pedestal. I'm challenging his credentials if I ask him personal questions. But if you put money on the table, there is no question that's too personal. You need to ask them questions to get them vetted. If they become defensive on you answer those questions, they ain't the right person for you to invest with. You just move on. Hey, you know what? I understand. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait for the next opportunity. I'm gone. Because I need these questions answered to feel comfortable with giving you money. I'm not just going to give you money just because you're showing flashy things that you could have easily rented and put it on social media.
Right.
That's it right there, man. That's it.
Like,
well, we had an hour and a half right now. We have the hour 30-minute mark. It was a good show, man. Good conversation. All right, let's go ahead with last thoughts and comments, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'll start with our guest first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, first and foremost, man, appreciate the invite. Always love the conversation. I think I've been on a lot of podcasts. It's my first one with 5 brothers on there, so I appreciate that in itself. Hey, if you guys are watching this, please go follow everybody on this. Follow social media, right? Give some street cred because we giving out some game. We gave out some game today, so please, everybody. Use professionals. That's why my big thing. There's nothing wrong with using professionals. And lastly, man, get off the couch, get in the game, right? And again, getting in the game could just be getting your first class. Getting in the game could just literally be learning something. Getting in the game could be starting and buying your own first personal property, right? But stand up, get some leadership, male or female, whatever you at, right? Get in the game some type of way. Take baby steps. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and we'll see you guys whenever we see you.
Gotcha. Corey, any last thoughts?
Last thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Get the education. You got OJ that's offering free education right here. You got YouTube. You got a plethora of podcasts that you can get on. Get the education, get around the people that's like-minded and speaking the same language that you speaking. Stop going to your homeboy that's never done an investment deal, never invested, and can't necessarily guide you. They're just going to scare you off the wagon. So, you know what I'm saying? Get around people that's thinking and talking the same way that you do, and then, you know what I'm saying, we see you at the top.
Gotcha. Barry B.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing about education. That'll break that fear that you have to go to the next level. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like you say, there's plenty of areas to go to, and like OJ said, ask questions. If you don't understand about something, ask questions.
Right,
And if
right.
they can't answer it, or if they don't want to, or if they start getting all defensive, you already
Crawfishing.
know. You already know.
Right.
Move on.
Right. So CJ, what we got?
I just say, and not just education, do proper planning. Put it down on paper. What are your goals? What do you want to get out of this? Get with a mentor. Find, like Andre, he's got courses, get the education, but write down what you want. You can't just get out here and shoot from the hip on something like this. Like he had somebody give somebody 20 racks, didn't even know their name. You need to make sure you're doing all of your due diligence on the front end, so you ain't paying for it on the back end. Because if you fail to plan to fail.
Gotcha. So what's our advice on the bridge the gap between desires and action? I like everything they said. Education, vetting people, drop the fear, actually do your due diligence, and actually get in the game. Actually go ahead and jump all the way in the pool. And I would add to this also, before you do anything, have your nice foundation. A lot of people in the foundation. This is what the Power of Ownership podcast is about, and this is what this podcast is about. Without a target, first of all, without a foundation, a spiritual foundation, whatever you want, whatever you want as a foundation needs to be there. And then secondly, you have to have a target. Like CJ said, if you don't know what you're shooting at, how are you going to hit it? So jump in the game, get it done, and then have no fear, because that's what you promise. If you got a foundation and you raise the frequency, the universe changes through frequency. You're doing something's going to move. Everything works, nothing doesn't. And with that being said, man, we're going to see y'all next week.
Oh yeah, shout out to the noobs.
Peace.